Hey there, I'm Melanie from Southern Charm Quilts. In this video, I'm giving you a quick demo on how to cut fabric for all your quilting projects, or basically how to read a cutting chart. This snippet comes straight from my Cozy Fall Stitches class over at Quilt Class, where we walk through 5 Cozy Fall projects together. So if you'd like to take the full class, you can find it at quiltclass.southerncharmquilts.com. Or if you're interested in this specific pattern, it is a free pattern called Pumpkin Star Pillow, and it's available in my resource library. Links to everything are right below this video. So you do need your 6.5, or you need a 4.5 inch ruler. It doesn't matter how wide it is. And then you need a rotary cutter. And then right here where it says A, you're going to cut strips, and then you're going to subcut those strips. Just in case you're unfamiliar with the word subcut, it means to cut again the piece you just cut. So I'm cutting a strip, I'm subcutting. I'm cutting the strip, and I'm subcutting that strip. So because we get fabric laid out like this, sometimes it's just a really good idea, or for me, my favorite way of working through something, or my flow of working through this, is to get all of my strips cut, then go back and subcut them. That way I don't have to be moving this piece of fabric over and over. So I'm going to work through cutting a fabric, but let's do a cutting demo real quick, just in case you are unfamiliar. This is the selvage. Sometimes it has words right here, but on the other half of the fabric, it doesn't have words. So you want to take that selvage, and you want it closest to where you're standing, and you want to put that on a line. Now, if your fabric is geometrical, you may have to straighten it up, and it may not exactly sit on that line, but most of the time, if it's a tossed floral like this, you can sit it on the line and not worry about your geometric shapes. All right, you want it sitting on a horizontal line of your mat, and you want it overlapping a vertical line on your mat. That way, you can put your ruler on the line you want to cut on and cut away this little piece right here, and that's called getting yourself a clean edge. I can't see that I'm on the line because my fabric is overlapping, and the edge of the ruler is right there. So I don't like to look at the edge of my ruler. I like to look at 1 inch away from the edge. So 1 inch away from the edge on the ruler, that's the line that I want to line up 1 inch away on the cutting mat from the line I want to actually cut on. So I'm looking here, and I'm going to be looking here on the ruler. So I'm going to line those two lines up. Lines of my ruler lining up with the lines of my mat. And this up here, where it's above the fabric, that's where I'm making sure line up. And then when I know I've got it right, I put some weight down and I cut. And then you'll get this little bitty scrap, just throw it away. Now you've got a clean edge, and you're making straight cuts. All right. We are cutting 2 3.5 inch strips first. So let's cut those 3.5. 1, 2, 3. And if I'm working with a large piece of fabric and I'm making a lot of these cuts, I would have folded my fabric. But we're making a bunch of different cuts on this one. And then I need one more 3.5. So a half, 1, 2, 3. Lines of my ruler line up with the lines of my mat. All right, now we need a 4.5 inch strip. 1, 2, 3, 4.5. And now we need a 2.5. All right. And that is all the strips that we need, but we still have to subcut strips. This is scrap. All right, and I like to just move these out of the way. Just get them out of your way. And we're going to start back at the top of that list, grabbing our 2 3.5 inch strips. So we've got 2 of those. And we're going to get them together. And we're going to put this edge of the fabric on a horizontal line of our mat, and we're going to make sure the selvage overlaps a vertical line. I like to bring in a little ruler when I'm cutting little pieces because they're easier to maneuver. All right, so first I'm going to line up the edge of my ruler where I want to cut myself a clean edge, which is, usually right in front of the selvage. All right, and now I'm cutting a 14.5-inch rectangle. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 and a half. I like to put my ruler where I think I'm going to cut at, and then go back and remeasure. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 and a half. All right, scraps, and these are our pieces. All right, so now I'm grabbing that 4.5-inch A strip that we just cut. This time I'm going to fold it because I need two 6.5-inch rectangles from it. Lining up this edge with a horizontal line on my cutting mat and making sure the selvage overlaps a vertical line. Line up my ruler, lines of my ruler, lining up with the lines on my mat, cut away that selvage, and then I'm going to cut 6.5 inches. 5, 6.5 to get my ruler in place, and then remeasure. 5, 6.5. All right, this is scraps. Put these over here. Right. And then we're going to grab that 2.5-inch strip, and I'm going to fold it in half because it says we need to cut that into 8 2.5-inch squares. All right. We're going to cut ourselves a clean edge, getting rid of that selvage, and then we're going to cut 2.5 inches. So that's 2, 4, 6, 8. All right. There we go. All right. So now I will go through, cut my B fabric, cut my C fabric, cut my D fabric. Those are pretty basic cutting. Background, you'll do the same thing that we did with A. Cut your strips, then subcut them into the pieces you need. And then that's all I'm going to cut for now. You could go ahead and cut your backing and your binding, but I don't like to right away. I like to save that for later because I'm always antsy to get into the meat of the project. So I'm not going to cut my backing and binding, but you can. I will meet you when we have all of our pieces all cut. If you love learning through quilting demos or just want a little extra help as you sew, come join me inside Quilt Class. You'll find full video lessons, detailed walkthroughs, and a warm community of quilters who love to share their progress and tips. You can take individual classes or join the membership for unlimited access to every class I've made. Visit quiltclass.southerncharmquilts.com to get started.